Hey everybody, Chris Lawrenson here. I'm going live for the first time on YouTube, which I'm pretty excited about. And I'm going to have to get into the vibe and also look into the camera that I'm not used to either. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to do kind of a surprise reading of a poem from my book that's called Slurp, Gulp, and Start on Sounds. Since it's the first time that I'm ever going live on YouTube, I'll give you the 30-second backstory, which is this. In 2011, I spent 6 months building this book. I'm a designer by day, and I've been writing poetry since I was a teenager. And I had spent about 10 years writing poetry, and I wanted to put it into a book. And in 2011, I spent 6 months doing just that, putting that into this book that you see right here. And then, unfortunately, I had ordered this one proof copy. And as soon as I finished proofing it before it went to the full publication stage, my hard drive died and I lost all the files. And so all of the proof edits that I had made, which as you can see here, all these like sticky notes and stuff, they couldn't be made into the final book. And so the book just got shelved because the only other way around that issue was that I would have had to completely restart that, hit the reset button on that 6-month process, because all of the design and layout of the book files itself had been lost. And so since then, this one proof copy that I had that still has all the sticky notes in it from when I went through it and proofed it, this has just been sitting up on my shelf in my office at home, and I haven't done anything with it. At the time, I was really passionate about getting this book out to you, and I poured so much energy into it. And then if I can just be honest, like, losing all of that work was just kind of devastating to me. And so I just felt really disheartened at the time, and I didn't have the energy to pour back into it and just restart the whole process from scratch. I had hoped that it wouldn't take me this long to kind of circle back around to this body of work, but it has. I haven't written a lot of poetry since then, maybe only under 100 poems since 2011, which, gosh, is over 11 years now. Or 10 years, just over 10 years. So what I decided to do was, instead of committing to rebuilding the book from scratch, I thought I would start a podcast where I could just. I think generally my sense this year, 2022, is that I want to just put stuff out. I feel like I've spent my whole life creating stuff and then just like burying it in a drawer, whether that's music or art or poetry or any of the number of things that I've had the honor to do in my time. I haven't shared a lot. So this is me wanting to share. And I think since this work for me feels so familiar, I've chosen to share this poetry book. I'm doing that in the form of a podcast, and I'll put the link in the description. But I've titled the podcast the same as the title of the book, and let me just move that up for you. As you can see, it's titled Slurp, Gulp, and Start on Sounds. You'll see me holding up this book a lot because it feels like kind of a prized possession. It's literally the only copy that exists, and so I kind of feel like it's a special little thing that I have, at least to myself. And I'm really excited to start this journey of what should probably be a couple years worth of podcast episodes of sharing all of these poems with you. It's roughly 150 poems that are in this book. So it's a proper anthology. And that's because I'm not a typical poet where I would be, constantly writing and constantly publishing my stuff in all kinds of different journals. That's not what I do. So I wanted to just kind of throw it into one book once and kind of get it all out all at the same time. It's funny though, because it's been so much time since then that I think now maybe I feel a little bit differently about that. I think these days I'm kind of feeling like actually I've really enjoyed writing again recently, and maybe I would put together another book. Whether I would rebuild this, I don't know. If this turns out to be some material that you enjoy and you're interested in, let me know. If you guys feel like it's something that you want, then and I see enough of that, then I will be motivated, I think, enough to revisit that journey and rebuild the book. And it's such a different time of life. I've got kids now, and I'm living back in the States, and it's just very different time of life than it was when I originally put this book together. So it feels like a nice fresh start. And as I've been recording episodes of the podcast, it's felt to me like a little bit of a new lease on life, for at the very least for this body of work. But also, as I said, for me, it's been a way to take a sort of a baby step into starting to actually be more vulnerable with my own creativity by sharing it more freely. So I think, if you're here, you're probably also a creative person in some regard, and you know what it's like to create something and then, maybe love it for a moment and then look back on it and think, I can do better, or I want to do better, or it's not good enough. And I feel like I've felt that my whole life, and I've created so much work, whether it's music or design or poetry, which those are the main things I do these days. There's so much that most of it I haven't shared. And actually I'm coming to a point in my life now where I feel like that's kind of selfish. It's not just selfish, but it's also, um, I feel like I've gotten so much input into my life from you, the creative community that I'm a part of, that I feel almost obliged and also inspired to be able to give something back. So that's what this is about for me personally. I was intending on going down all those roads in this live stream, but what I'm going to do is my plan was to read the next poem that's going to be released tomorrow morning, which is Wednesday, February 9th, 2022, on the podcast titled Slurp, Gulp, and Start on Sounds. And the poem that I'm going to read is a pretty old one. I'm looking at the cover because the table of contents is printed on the cover of the book. And the poem I'm going to read right now is called Surround Out. I'm going from memory because this goes kind of way back for me now. I'm getting up there. But I think this is one of the earliest poems that I can remember writing. So this is, really old. This is it's definitely, if I had to guess a year, this is going to be towards the beginning of when I started writing poetry, which would have been mid probably early mid 90s. This might be like 1994, 95, something like that. That's around when I started writing kind of consistently. And before that, I was writing a bit, but I was throwing it all in the trash, which I now regret, obviously. So be it. All right, this poem is called Surround Out. Surround out, surround out. Life and time, oh, what the hell is life to rhyme the citadel, the maiden's fairest waif of all? This burden of a life for us will crush our hope and knowledge, will can a love for fear of God. This isn't a lame excuse for us. It's just a burden of life for us. It's love for God in all the wrong places, in my heart's dark cave of abstinent spaces. It's time well spent in searching for loosely scattered jewels and lace. One can nearly expect the bar to raise up higher than high is high. In the midst of bloody, laborious eyes, they have it all in what they looked for. Life and time, I'll have it all before the audience last hurrah. They're fat with histories and wedding gifts. They're fit to lift up hands of praise, to offer fat in sand and maize. History will record a life and time of citadelish lovers' crush. And that'll tell us all of what the life and time has burdened us. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed that. If you like this style of poetry, which I have no idea what it's called, if anything, then please head over to my poetry site, my Patreon, subscribe to the podcast, like this video, and show your support. This is just me here trying to put myself out a little bit in something that I've created and something that I've enjoyed. I really hope that you enjoyed it too. Thanks so much for sticking it through. I'll catch you next time. Let me see if I can figure out how to end this video now.